Welcome everyone to Throwback Gaming's Our Life Begins and Always Let's Play Part 7. And the last moment on the top part of Step 1 before we get into the DLC, which we're going to do. But yeah, last time we did Sandcastle, and as you would expect, we built sandcastles, but there's a little more to that. But if you want to see that, please click the video before this one, part 6, and check it out. It's pretty good. It wasn't in the demo, so it was nice. But time for us to check out Fireflies, which probably has us catching fireflies. And I feel like most people have done this when they were little. You know, go around chasing them in the summertime, put them in a little jar. Gotta poke holes in the top though, so they don't die. But you have to release them later on. But it's always fun. So I'm excited. Let's jump in, shall we? Alright, tonight we're going to catch fireflies. At this blunt declaration from your sister, you look up from your macaroni and cheese dinner. It's another thing that a lot of kids have when they're little. I know I did. I had lots of mac and cheese when I was little. It's still personal comfort food from time to time. Fireflies were a familiar sight over summer, coming out on warm nights to dance through the sky. Tonight was particularly balmy. You knew there was bound to be tons of them around. Oh, you are you? Yeah, you started eating faster. You looked over at your mom's, or you pushed your food around your plate. Let's just say yeah, because we're excited now. We want to catch some fireflies. You rocked lightly from side to side in your seat, already excited for your after-dinner activity. This sounds like a little kid. You're like, I'm so excited, I can't wait. Catching fireflies was a great way to spend your summer evening, and you could already envision the little lightning bugs drifting through the darkened sky. Oh, Shiloh's here. I mean, that's not surprising. He is Lily's best friend. Lizzie, Saint Pokemon sign. Anyways, that's a good idea, Lizzie. Can we miss last? Shiloh tapped his fork against the table excitedly, his face lighting up as he looked at Lizzie. It was unusual for Shiloh to still be here. Like always, his mom had to bring him over really early in the morning before her job started. But normally, she would have picked him up by now. She called before dinner to let your moms know she'd be late. You didn't hear why. Probably more work things. I wonder if something's going on with Shiloh's mom. He thought maybe getting to hang out with Shiloh for longer was what made Lizzie want to keep running around outside. Probably. Staying at home and watching TV was never an option for her with guests over, and that's why you were pretty sure she was getting your mom's degree. I mean, that's good, you know. If you have guests over, you should be paying attention to them and doing stuff with them instead of watching TV. Unless it's one of those rainy days and you can't really do anything, you know? Well, it's already so dark out there. Lizzie gave Mom the best puppy dog eyes she could, slowly spooning mac and cheese into her mouth while you waited for their response. Let them go. Nights like this don't happen every day. Your parents exchange a look, and then Mom eventually sighs and nods back. Yes! Excuse me. Along with Lizzie's cheers, you throw up your arms in triumph. But waited until you finished chewing to say anything because you knew it was rude to talk with your mouth full. Exactly. You're supposed to keep your mouth shut if there's food in your mouth. Fine. Fine. Just make sure you stay on the hill behind the house with all the poppies, okay? Duh, Mom. That's where most of them are. Don't be rude to your mom. She just lets you go out at night and catch fireflies. Even though she didn't want... Well, Mom didn't want us to. Mommy said it was okay. Don't be rude. The idea had only just been planted in your head, but you already could picture all the glowing lights spread out in front of you, like the fairies from the bedtime stories Mommy reads sometimes. Oh, isn't that sweet? All too quickly it became a race to see who could finish their food first. No choking at the dinner table now. That's so true, though. It's like, don't try to eat so fast so that it's time to go do it, because then you can get hurt, you know? That's right, if someone died, we'd have to cancel the Firefly trip after all. Mom said it like a joke, but you knew they were both telling the kids to slow down. Yeah. She got a big smile. Shiloh did immediately. Of course Shiloh did. Shiloh's so good at listening to others and doing what's expected of him. When you glanced at Lizzie, you saw her still eating faster than she should. Someone's not going outside for the Fireflies. Elizabeth? No one's gonna die. Sheesh. She's gonna be a handful when she's a teenager. You can already tell. You can already tell. A knock on the door interrupted Mom before she could no doubt scold your sister. I bet it's Cove. I'll get it. Your big sister jumped out of her seat and ran over to the door, pulling it open without even looking out the window to see it was. Okay, first of all, you never open the door until you know who it is, because it could be some stranger trying to hurt you or something. But it's probably Cove. Or Cove's dad, with Cove. Huh? You shifted in your seat to try and get a glimpse at the unexpected guest. Evening, Cove. Your mommy had already walked to the door by the time you managed to see past Shiloh's flabby hat. Oh, Cove. Hey, you're here. See, he was kind of sad, but now he's happy that we said hi to him. Cove smiled at your enthusiastic greeting, and you hoped Mommy would ask him to stay. It didn't matter why I was there. It meant he could join you all in catching Fireflies. Then for a few seconds, Cove said nothing. He only stood there and looked up at your mommy with the face almost like he was considering turning around and leaving. My dad told me to drop this off because I guess he borrowed it from you. Cove took a familiar screwdriver from out of his large side pocket. Eyes now dropped to the floor. He's embarrassed. We left ours back home when we moved. Great. Thanks. Bye. Rude, Lizzie. Why are you trying to get not Shiloh. Get rid of Cove like that? You not want him to be involved in the activities? Thank you. Hey, why don't you come in for a bit? Lizzie crossed her arms and lifted her chin. Cove shrugged, and Mom stood at the table, too. I'll give your dad a call to let him know you're here, alright? Don't they live right across the street, but I mean, you still gotta tell the parent what's going on, no? Cove shuffled fully inside, eyes remaining on the ground. Mommy closed the door behind him. Hi, Cove. Well, at least they seem like they're getting along now. Unlike the last episode. Shiloh gave Cove a friendly smile while waving by holding his hand and opening and closing his fingers. Okay, kind of like jazz hands. I was like, what? Cove nodded in response. Cove, are you going to catch Fireflies with us? You could come outside with us if you want, or you weren't sure what to say. We'll ask him if he's going to catch Fireflies with us. And wait a second. I'm sorry about that. Had to feed the rat real quick. Good times. Alright, anyways. You could see Lizzie eyeing you for mentioning the excursion to the outsider. But she get over it. You hoped Cove would say yes. That way you wouldn't be the odd one out when Lizzie and Shiloh anymore. I can do that. I've never caught one before. It's too bad he didn't have a chance before now. The Fireflies weren't out when he first moved in, and there must have not been anywhere he used to live. I think he came from New York or something like that. Somewhere like real urban. Can't go until after dinner. After she pointed this out, Lizzie walked back to the table and took her seat. There wasn't much left on her plate. Since this was very true, you decided to finish up your own stuff as well. Cove stepped closer and eyed what was on the menu for your family's meal. Have you eaten yet? Yeah. My dad and I ate earlier. He don't seem too happy about what he had for dinner. What'd you have? Eggs. The clipped, one-word answer seemed to discourage Tyler from asking any more questions. Apparently your dad doesn't know how to cook much. Then again, we had mac and cheese, which isn't that hard to make, but eggs seem kind of boring. His eyes slowly wandered back to the last scrapes of food on his plate. Her phone call with Cove's dad must have ended because your mom came back into the room. Cove, your dad said you could stay for a little while if you want, but he's going to come and get you first too much later. Sure. Oh, fun. This is going to be so nice. Yep, should be a good time. As you polished off your meal, you hoped it would be too. Three of you had all finished eating shortly after, and Lizzie led the way outside. Remember, don't stray too far. It's fine, Mom. Shiloh trailed so close after Lizzie, he nearly stepped on her heels. Hove hesitated at the door. Coming? After a moment, he did. 5 children. The two of you were a good 10 or 15 feet behind Lizzie and Shiloh by the time you walked outside. You pushed the door shut behind you, watching their figures get farther and farther away. You're so slow, Jamie. We don't have all night. You start to run when you hear Lizzie's voice calling you, but pause when you saw Cove still walking at a relaxed pace. Are you not going to come? You tugged him along. You walked with him, you waved at him to hurry, or you ran off. We'll walk with him, why not? Lizzie will get over herself. You fell behind, sliding up next to him and matching his stride. He noticed right away. You can go ahead if you want. You smile and shake your head. I don't. After a short while, the two of you reached the hill behind the house. Isn't that pretty with all the fireflies in the background? The fireflies were out in full force, floating on the breeze, their gentle glow winking in and out and creating an almost magical effect. Lizzie had already climbed to the top. Shiloh was spinning in circles somewhere around the middle. Cool. Wow. Shiloh took a moment to come over and welcome the two of you to the hill. Shiloh is so adorable. I love Shiloh. Hey guys, it's really great out, huh? See how many there are? Yeah. A firefly danced through the air, landing on Cove's sea green head. Shiloh couldn't help but giggle. You and Shiloh couldn't help but giggle. I love how there's two different choices. You quietly looked on or you shooed the bug away. Let's both giggle. Covering your mouth with the hand, the sound escaped you and Cove looked at you in confusion. What? Oh look, Lizzie has one. That's amazing. Shiloh ran to the highest point of the hill, making sure not to lose his hat or backpack along the way. You hummed as the group divided and conquered, shifting your gaze to the dozens of other fireflies sailing around. The game is on. Spotting one by, you approached it with an assassin-like stealth. I love that. Crouching down to make sure yourself seemed less of a threat. Slowly dragging one foot in front of the other, you crept up towards it, arms outstretched. You closed your hands around the tiny glowing orb, careful not to crush it. Firefly landed on your palm, almost docile, and you stared down at your prize in delight. Its tiny legs tickled your skin, and you giggled at the sensation. Cove kept up with his own target, but when he tried to grab it with his pink cast When he tried to grab with his spin cast waved awkwardly through the air, foiling his efforts to clasp his hands around the Firefly. Cove watched it vanish into thin air with a dissatisfied expression on his face. You encouraged him to try it again. You told him about the Firefly you had. You made a joke about what happened, or you did your own things. Let's encourage him. You'll get the next one. Did you catch one? You nodded, and Cove gave up his hunt for a moment, coming closer and peering at the insect still crawling across your palm. You held out your hand, and he leaned closer, eyes widening a tad behind his glasses. Cove remained hypnotized by the little bug as he inched his hand closer to yours. Ultimately, he stepped his fingers lightly over the tops of the ones you were holding open. It tingled. You stayed very still, or you pulled your hand back? Let's stay still. The last thing you wanted was to accidentally scare the shiny treasure off. The Firefly, noticing the new connection, crawled up onto Cove's hand. He quietly gasped. It worked! Yeah, you got one. Cove's lips turned into a slow smile and his eyes shined brighter than the bug. Thanks, Jamie. With a laugh, he gave the palm of your hand a friendly smack, performing an awkward low high five. Startled by the extreme movement, the tiny light disappeared before you could even blink. The Firefly was gone. Oops, sorry. It's okay. I mean, it was gonna fly off at some point. You scolded him. Wrong. You forgave him. Correct. Or you teared up. No, we're gonna forgive him. We're not gonna cry. There's tons of them. It's not like it's the last Firefly in existence. That's okay. I couldn't keep it forever. Right. Bugs have to stay outside. Let's get another one. You decided to collect more, or you decided to sit in the grass and watch? Let's collect some. We can work together. His face broke out into a wide grin. We'll get a bunch. That's right, bud. With renewed vigor, you ran out into the hill. You were not sure how much time passed while you were in the thick of it. All you could focus on was the adventure at hand. No critter was safe from your grasp. At first, you tried to keep a tally of how many you caught, but once the number grew higher than 10, you had no more fingers to count with. We are 8, so I mean, I feel like we should be able to count to more than 10, but, you know, it's fine. You were having the time of your life, racing up and down the hill, with the crash of the ocean and the sound of everyone's laughter echoing in the background. Jamie, this way! You followed the sound of Cove's voice to the top of the hill, watching as he stretched his arms out in front of him, reaching with his fingers and only narrowly missing his target. Cove and you took turns trying to scare fireflies in the direction of the other. You showed him some techniques you had learned, like how to cup your hands correctly, and he listened attentively before drawing himself. There were a few times you almost ran into each other, giggling as you dove to the side at the last moment. Luckily, disaster was avoided each time. Well, that's good. It was overall a huge success, with both you catching multiple fireflies each. Well, that's good. I'm glad Cove had a good time as well. Eventually, the fireflies began to thin out and your energy started to lapse. You decided it was time to call off the hunt. Cove didn't complain. He breathed in heavy and his face seemed really flush. Probably because he's been running around all over the place. And that was fun. A lot of fun. Or maybe he's embarrassed. He gets embarrassed really easy. You smiled at him broadly, happy that he enjoyed the activity. Yeah, it was. Jamie, Cove, get up here. We're going to have a race. What is this, the greatest race or whatever it's called? The shouting caught you off guard. It had been quite a while since you heard from Lizzie or Shiloh. You glanced over to see them both standing on the top of the hill again, Lizzie beckoning you with quick hand gestures. Excuse me. If she was like that, you knew there wasn't much room for disagreement. Up the incline you went. From the corner of your eye, you saw Cove was coming as well. He didn't care for Lizzie a lot, so you thought he might be intrigued by the idea. Hi. Hey, Cove, you can't run down the hill. You can hurt your arm again. You'll have to be the referee for the rest of us. Again, once again, Lizzie's trying to exclude Cove from the group. I mean, she's right. He can't roll down the hill, but can't we just run down the hill? Why do we have to roll down the hill? You know? Be fair, Lizzie. As Lizzie pointed this out, Cove froze in place. Oh, it was that kind of race. He frowned down at his calves. That was the second time we got in the way tonight. What? Yeah. You'll watch and see who gets to the bottom first. That's important. Got it? I guess. Don't you think it'd be more fun if he was involved in the race? The cast was sturdy. If he was careful, he could have done it. Lizzie might have been just looking for a reason to make someone else the referee. But it was already decided. You got into position for the race. I'll stay with Cove, or I'm going to do something else. We'll stay with Cove, so Cove's not by himself. Really? Why? You don't have to. It's okay, I want to watch. You moved beside him at the top of the hill even though Lizzie eyed you and made a face. That's not how races work. We only need one referee. Shrugging your shoulders, you refused to budge, and Lizzie let out a huff before rolling her hands in the air. Fine. I'll be the winner, whether you join or not. I'm telling you, she's going to be trouble when she's a teenager. Lizzie moved to lay down and Shiloh did the same. Cove stood slightly to the side to get a better vantage point, and you stood beside him. Countdown! Cove stood up a little straighter. It seemed like he was taking his newfound referee duties seriously. 3, 2, 1, take off! Go! Lizzie and Shiloh took off, letting gravity do the rest, and rolled down the hill at high speeds toward the bottom of the hill. You and Cove leaned forward to watch them go, eyes peeled for which of the two of them would reach the bottom first. They were both neck and neck until halfway down the hill. Lizzie started to veer off to the side, giving Shiloh a huge advantage. The crowd goes wild. Shiloh, 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 Shiloh. She obviously hadn't noticed a thing, and by the time Shiloh reached the bottom of the hill, he jumped up excitedly and threw his hands up in the air, and Shiloh is the winner! Shiloh, Shiloh, Shiloh! I won! Almost immediately, he fell back in the grass, still dizzy from his roll down the hill. Lizzie stomped out of the bush and ended up in. That's what you get for trying to not include Cove. You end up in a bush. It's fitting. Spurring angrily and brushing leaves from the front of her dress. That's funny. Not bad. You got lucky. Let's do it again and see who wins for real. It's still counted just because you lost. Kids, it's time to come in. No. You snickered, feeling grateful he had been part of the mini debacle. You caught Cove's eyes and he saw he was doing the same. It had gotten late and was beginning to feel a bit chilly as you made your way out of the hills. The cold in the air hadn't dampened anyone's spirits. The four of you walked back home together, side by side, down your neighborhood street, discussing the evening, with each person trying to prove that they were the one who caught the most fireflies. You knew that whoever did catch the most didn't really matter anyway. All that mattered was that you had a good time, which, judged by the smiles on everyone's faces, you did. And that's it for Fireflies. Which means we're done with all the regular moments, except for the DLC, which we're gonna do. Which I'm looking forward to, because none of this stuff was in the demo. So it's gonna be all new stuff. And I'm looking forward to see what happens. Because I feel like by doing this DLC, we're gonna change how this first step ends. Because once we hit End Summer Ends, there's gonna be we're gonna have a time skip. We're gonna grow up like 2 or 4 years. So we're 8 right now. I think the first time skip we might be 12. So it might be a 4-year time skip. Which a lot of stuff's gonna happen. People are gonna change how they look and stuff. And I think by doing these DLCs, we're going to influence that change more than if we didn't do the DLC. But we'll have to see what happens. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. Subscribe to the channel to know when new videos come out. And I'll see you next time when we start off doing the library DLC. But until then, peace out, everyone.